Good day, everyone, and welcome here at the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. Today, we have the wonderful privilege of spending time with the one and only Neil Palmer. I'm going to read his bio to you before we start this interview. He writes, "Throughout my life, I've hated seeing people being mistreated and always felt I needed to protect those who are vulnerable. However, this did at others, especially times, get me into trouble, especially during my school years, as I always got involved when seeing someone else get bullied. And if they I struggled a lot through my school life, as I found it difficult to learn, read, and write, which made me lash out in class a lot. This led me to being sent out of that learning environment, which suited me fine, as I disliked it. And it was a way out for me. At the age of 16, I became homeless, and it was a big shock for me being forced into the real world at such a young age. As time went by, I began to feel useless, like there was no point in life anymore. And at this moment, I did not want to be alive any longer. I found myself mixing with the wrong crowd, making bad choices in life. However, it was due to this downward spiral that I ended up finding my inner spiritual energy. It was telling me not to give up and that everything was going to be okay. I remember looking at myself in the mirror and saying to myself, look at you. No wonder you can't get anywhere in life. You're a disappointment. And I knew at that moment that something needed to change in my life. At the age of 19, my life was in such a mess. I remember taking a step back and looking at my life, thinking I need to make changes. Luckily, my family had also seen the mess I'd become and decided to move me away from my hometown, to get away from friends I was associating with, to make a fresh new start. It was not easy leaving it all behind. However, this is where it ended up. Me meeting my fantastic partner and brilliant martial arts instructor, Master Alan Whiteside. Today, at 32 years old, I have a second dan in JKD, Arnis and Kenryu Sobudo, Tai Jiu-Jitsu with Master Alan Whiteside, and also a second dan in Sikaran. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I've recently been awarded the Vice President of England in Sikaran by GM Hari Osias Panag. Throughout the last 12 years, I've also been learning Silat. However, this was not my main art that I trained in. In 2019, it was an absolute honor to be nominated for the UK Hall of Fame. This is where I met some of the greatest legends in martial arts. I'm now in my 5th year being nominated into the UK's Hall of Fame by Bob Sykes. I have a small amount of nunchaku experience with Sensei Rich Smith. Unfortunately, I started the nunchaku just before COVID came along, but I can't wait to get this going again and become an instructor in the future. Now, as a spiritual and martial arts teacher, it's amazing to see how far I've come with the help and support of the people I've met in my life. as it's not just martial arts that has helped me. For years, I've had the honor of helping people spiritually through difficult times on social media and also in my local community. From this, I've built a business, the Harmonic Cycle, concentrating on spiritual healing and mental well-being, as well as being a medium psychic bringing peace to many around the entire world. I host healing events, much more where I help others on their mental and spiritual well-being journey. I feel so honored that martial arts came into my life. As for me, it's not just a style of art, it's the way of the warrior, which is not to give up and to keep fighting in life no matter what, no matter your mental or physical state. Remember to find peace, find joy, and find harmony, and you will become the best warrior no matter your ability. In warmth, Neil Palmer. And that's why, Neil, you fit in so well here at the Meticulous Moments community. I see the leadership, I see the gratitude, and I see the community upliftment. Welcome here today.
Thank you very much. It's crazy hearing someone else say that back to you, because it's like a wave of emotion, and then it was like, okay, I'm uplifting, remember. But yeah, it's nice to get back. I've got the book here as well. So this is the book, nice hardback, Warrior Path, with fantastic worldwide martial artists in there. And also, I was very happy to receive this in the post today. So Phil Morsley and also, I believe, Wayne Hunt as well have nominated me for the next Hall of Fame, the UK Hall of Fame. So this one is off Phil Morsley, though. So it's the Black Belt Hall of Fame in November the 12th, 2023. So big shout out to them for putting me forwards for that. Feel very blessed and grateful.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. I know Phil Morsley very, very well. I believe your event is in November this year. The Black Belt.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah. So tell the audience a little bit more about you. You know, what pops up today as we are here. You are in the UK. I'm in South Africa. Here we are in this interview. What would you like to share with us today?
I don't know what to share at the moment. We're in the process of creating a new federation called the USAF. So this is to help promote all different styles of martial arts, no matter what type of style background. It's creating that, you know, that community of like one style is not better than the others. It's just having an extra tool in your toolbox. It's learning all these different stuff and coming together as one of the art, love of the art. You know what I mean? So one of our friends over in America, she's putting on competitions at the moment. And because it costs a lot of money to ship over awards and stuff like that, so it's a free competition to enter. You just take a video of yourself breaking boards, doing your katas, you know, just a mixture of different things. And then for the people in the UK, we're trying to gather all them people, get them on there, sending their videos, and hopefully we'll do an awards ceremony where the people in the UK can come, we'll all meet, we'll do some seminars, we'll do some events during the day, and then they can collect all the awards at the end of the night. So that's one of the things in the plan at the moment. But it's also a way of helping new students, new schools. So another part of the USAF is to help people that don't have much food, or the schools are not very equipped. So we want to host competitions with maybe a small fee that will send money to these different places. So one of my friends from Cuba, they're really struggling with food and stuff like that at the moment. He reached out. So my local, like mine and Master Alan and Andy, our school is putting together like a little event. We're going to raise some money and send some money over to them to help support them over there as well.
Wow. So how can the audience get involved? This is a phenomenal idea, by the way. I love the fact that it's, you know, accessible to anywhere across the globe, that you accept all those videos and that money goes towards wonderful causes. You know, you look out for places that need help. How can the audience get involved? Where do they send the video? How long should the video be? And when's the cutoff time?
So we're still in the process of doing the USAF, making sure we get all the contracts and everything all perfect, because there's going to be different things available. So there's the free event where we'll do you know, a live, you know, free events, online videos and all that. And then they'll receive a certificate of like a digital certificate that they can print off themselves. And then we'll have another option where we have our grading books and our badge logo. So if they pay a fee, they can be part of the USAF for, you know, like a lifetime membership. So they'll have a grading system so they can join us, they can learn online, and we can do like one-to-one grading systems, you know, all the way up.
Yeah.
If there's a teacher or a sensei that already has a school but would like to join the USAF, we have a syllabus that we're willing to share. We like, because we, you know what I mean? That's what we're kind of edging about, you know, like trying to help people, show them what's on our syllabus, and then they can adapt it to their own if they wish, and just kind of grow from there. Just hopefully it'll be a nice, big organization, because there's a few out there that kind of they join the organization and then it's kind of like, well, what now? There's nothing, no follow-up on them, where we want to keep that follow-up going. We want to keep that support going. Even if we don't send the money to poverty countries or this, that, and the other, we can do an event where we all chip in, and then whoever wins first place, say there's so many people and we have like £2,000, you know, the first prize could be £1,000, second prize could be, you know, 600, and the next could be like 400, you know, and do first, second, and third, and that'll go to the clubs to fund new equipment, or to take the students out for a big meal, or, you know, whatever they want to choose to do with it.
Whatever the need is.
That's the plan.
Wow. That's amazing. So there's a syllabus as well, so it's going to be educational as well. And I like the fact that they can adapt the syllabus, because you mentioned something earlier. There's so many different styles. And, you know, some of us, like Shotokan, really is very closely related to my style, Shorin Ru, Shorin Kan. But their styles differ quite a lot, but they can still take that syllabus, modify it, and there's still that edification.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's good for training purposes. We have to build out. I think that's a fantastic idea. So as soon as you have your contracts in place, as you have those details, please let me know, and we will send it out to the Meticulous audience so that they can join, because Meticulous audience also has a lot of martial artists, and they have schools, and, you know, we can get you some videos and participation, lifetime members. Now, you picked up that amazing book of yours, The Warrior's Path. Show us that book again and tell us how did that come about, because it's amazing. Look at that. I love it. What's the emblem? What does that
So it's like the dragon.
Oh, beautiful.
It's nice. It's just so one of our instructors, he sadly passed away, and it made me think, you know, there's so many people that, like, a lot of grandmasters now are getting, you know, that they're getting quite old, and a lot of that history might get lost, you know, about how they became who they were, how did they get on their path, you know, is it through family historic, you know, family line, or was it just walking past the building and just looking at it and being like, what's that? And then they go inside, and now, you know, that's how it starts. You know what I mean? It could just be that one thing that sparks, and then you just fall in love. So in this book, I've got two of my grandmasters. The one that you mentioned before, my Sikaran one. So he's the
Hari, Grandmaster Hari Ustias.
And then you got a profile picture of yourself, and then that's his students in there, and then his story about his life, how he got into martial arts, you know, like how they didn't really have much themselves, and they just did, like, you know, they loved boxing, and then that's one of his teachers, sorry, one of the GMs, masters, you know what I mean, people below him. But it's nice. And then I've got Grandmaster Rodell in here. Let me just see if I can find him. And again, as soon as I saw the style of Arness, so that's him with his family, with the kids.
Oh, wow.
And stuff like that. Again, at the front of the page of this book, GM with his wife.
And his wife.
And then it's and then about his story and about how he got into it and stuff like that. And again, it's just fantastic to read and have that kind of inspiration of see, just getting to know someone, because some of the stories in there, you can really feel the depth. Like one of the ladies that are in the book, she talks about how she was learning one style of martial arts, but then when she finished her class, she was sitting on the stairwell and she kept hearing like toos, toos, and she's like, what's that noise? And she says she peered at, she says, and then I creeped up the stairwell, and as I started to peer over the top, I seen these people doing this style of art. And she was like, she talks about her emotions and how like the sensei seen her peering over the top, and he was like invited her in just to sit and watch. And it was just talking about, like how we can only really stick to one style. And she ended up coming across leaving one style and coming across to that style. And I think she's mentioned going back to the original style as well, but it's just learning to figure out what's right for you. Some people enter martial arts and the instructor might not be quite right for that student, or the style might not be quite right. So they'll go to a place, have an experience, and be like, this is not for me, and they might leave. Where they should understand it's not necessarily the style, it's about you finding what style resonates with yourself. Again, with Grandmaster Radel, we over in the UK, martial arts is not big, so it's really good to try and push it over here. So when we seen RNS, doing the stick work and stuff like that, it was just learning the trapping from the sticks. Anything you can do with a stick, you can do empty hands. So it falls in place with like Jeet Kune Do, the style from Bruce Lee. And again, I love doing that because it's just very good. In for the throat, in for the head, get rid of. And just,
1, 2, 3.
It's more physical.
Yeah.
In get it sorted, get it done, instead of a sport tape where you're bouncing around and you're trying to get points. It's more understanding. The kids need to, like, or even the adults, some of them, they come and they think they're going to be doing katas, but when they come, it's like they've just been headbutted and they're like, whoa. Obviously not straight off the bat, but you know what I mean. Some of them don't expect full contact. But again,
it's good that we incorporate the full contact into the training, because I always say, and I've learned this over the years from my Kyoshi, that tournament karate is pretty karate. It's kind of like a dance. You are performing the move to perfection, but the real karate on the street, when you get into a fight, it's not pretty. And you have to be ready, and you have to be tough, you have to be body conditioned, because the fight might not happen in the sequence of the kata, and you might not be ready. And if it's life-threatening, of course you do what you need to do to get out of that situation. So it's very good. Contact is a part of that, absolutely. And looking at the fighting and the hopping, at the tournaments when we do kumite, that's really not dangerous. What's dangerous is the open hand, because you can do a lot more with your open hand. So what is your style of karate? Tell the audience, what is your style that you practice? Because I believe you teach as well.
Yeah. So I do teach as well. So we do the style of Jeet Kune Do, we do RNS and stuff like that, and we do the Sikaran. They're the main arts that we do at the moment in time. We do incorporate different styles, like a little bit of jiu-jitsu, a little bit of salat and stuff like that. But again, unless you've got like your full license to teach that, it's one of them. It's a gray area, but we like to incorporate a little bit of it in, just so they have an understanding. If they fall to the floor, don't be leaning over. Even if you're the person above and you've just thrown someone over, don't be leaning over the person, because they might just boot you in the face, or they might grab onto you, or you make sure you always stand back. And it's just like in salat, they'll go down and it's a little stamp to the ankle or to the knee, so you're making sure I can get away and they're not going to get up and chase me.
That's it. Yeah, that's
it's just them little things that you need to add in.
Yeah, and you have to know how to fall. If someone does hip throw you or shoulder, you need to learn how to do the break fall, because otherwise you'll get really hurt. Because there's no mats in the street, only concrete and tar. Yeah. So
It does when you try and demonstrate it to the kids. It's funny. You like move the mats here. You throw me now, or we'll get what Master Allen.
yeah,
He'll come along and he'll be like, right, we're going to do a hip throw or something like that. Are you ready, Neil? And I'll be like, oh, yes. And it's just like bang on the concrete. And it's like, but see, it works. You put your hands out, you splat, and you tuck up, cross your legs a little bit so you can't be kicked, down
yeah,
there. And
yeah.
oh, yeah,
Tell us, Neil,
it's good.
you went out of the house when you were 16. You started
Yeah,
a new chapter. You had a really tough time until you were 19. I thought about it since you and I had a virtual coffee, and I wondered how scary that must be, to be on your own all of a sudden. You've been through a lot of
yeah,
things
it was. Yeah.
years. You told me about, people attacking you, and you can share that with the audience as well. How did you keep going? Because 3 years is a long time to be fending for yourself.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just so when I first well I got when I first kind of got kicked out, it was just 2 bin bags of clothes and sent on my way. Got to the top of the street, just didn't know what to do, didn't know where to go. And I thought to myself, I'll go back home and I'll go get the tent out the garden. So rummaged through the shed, got under the tent, and then when we were growing up as kids, there's a big, massive forest not far, probably about half an hour walk away. So we went to the forest, set up my tent with my mates and stuff like that, and it was just kind of sitting off there, stayed in the forest. There was a car booty, what was like where they do jumble sales and stuff like that, was a little bit over the side, so I had to be careful because I was on private land. But again, I felt safe because it was a little bit locked in.
Yeah.
We made this little fort and stuff. But at this moment in time, I was also working in the nightclubs as a glass collector. And that was like, to walk it's probably about an hour walk. So I used to walk there all the time. And then when we finished at like 6 o'clock in the morning, I thought I don't want to walk all the way back home. So I used to stay in like the 20p toilets and stuff like that as well. Because the light stays on, you're locked in, no one can get in until you leave. So it's that little bit of safety as well. So it is trying to get that out of yourself. Like you had to go to your local swimming baths to go get a wash in the showers and stuff. But it brought me a load of strength. It made me connect to the earth a lot more. Now I'm older.
Yeah.
I have a really strong connection to the earth, to the wind, to the rain. And that's really what pulled me out of that spiritual kind of energy started pumping up, because I remember just sitting there thinking to myself, multiple times crying away to myself and feeling lost and alone and not having that courage to share it with anyone.
Yeah.
And it was on my birthday. I think it was the day before my birthday. I broke down in work and just cried to everyone and told them what was going on. And then I stayed in work that night in the cellar. And then one of the lads who do like the advertisement, like give out flyers and stuff like that, like the promoter, he had a flatmate that just passed away during that, within a week or two. So I ended up staying in his flatmate's bed where he passed away. So that was a bit weird as well. It was nice that he took me on. I was there for a little bit, and then he helped me get my own place. But again, working in the nightclubs, dodgy people, dodgy times, and experience. I wouldn't change it. Like people say, would you change anything? I said, no, because it's all lessons. You have to go through this path. You have to go through the darkness to see the light. And it made me where I am now. I've got a fantastic partner. I've got 3 stepchildren, 2 kids of my own. I've got a roof on, everything I've manifest, I would say, from that tent, visualizing what I want in life has come about. You know what I mean? And it's just now I want to start me harmonic circle business.
Yeah.
I want to get my own location where I can start getting people in and doing all that stuff for them, teaching them how to get on their path and have that encouragement to figure out what it is that they desire and how to achieve it. It's can't wait.
I see the gratitude and the love that you have, to the universe for everything falling into line for you, falling into place. And I mean, you and your partner have amazingly beautiful children, I have to say. And you're a very good father because I noticed, when
Thank you.
on the call, you're a very, very good dad, patient father. And, you're raising those children and you're teaching them. And we do this sometimes without realizing it, but you are teaching them the right principles to set them up for a better future, for an amazing journey, to be open-minded, to really be able to receive from the universe, to know about that alignment that we have to have with ourselves and others. And you work with people specifically. Tell us about the harmonic cycle and how you help people, because you work in the spiritual realm. And for some people, that is something that they're familiar with. But other people are not so familiar with that yet. So tell them a little bit more how that works.
So there's loads of different ways. When I was 9 years old, there was this place called Greaves Hall, and it's like an abandoned building that burnt down. Me and my mates all went in there one day, and there was just this girl at the end of the corridor. I turned around to look at everyone like, wow, like she's in Victorian clothing, just like a long nanty dress. And we all looked at each other. So we all saw this girl, and it was just like, wow. We ran to the end of the corridor because she turned off to her left. As she went off to the left, we got there, and there was just I think it was about a 2 or maybe 3 floor drop down into like the basement. And then when we got, there's like, you couldn't get there. The only way we could get down, there was no other doors peering off. It was just floor, just the floor gone. And there was a big, massive like hose pipe. So we undone the fireman's pipe. We unraveled that, threw it down. We shuffled down there, and there was a door there that kind of led further into the basement. One of my mates went in there. I was like, no, I'm not going in there. I think he took about 5 steps in, realized it's completely pitch black, and came back out. Yeah. And then
so there was
there's
no
a park opposite. No, we couldn't find her. We stayed there the night as well, just to see if anything would happen. Nothing happened. There's a park across the road, and then the next time I seen her, I was sat in the park and we were just swinging away, and I was just looking at the building, and then my mates were talking to me, and then I looked back again, and she was just there staring straight at me. But it was this sense of she needed a release, like she didn't understand what was going on. It was weird. It was like she talked to me like it felt like she was talking to me. And it was like she needed to be unchained from this property. She needed to be released, and she wanted to come to the park. She wanted to play, and she was bound to that area, and she just didn't know what was going on. So I ended up just walking off onto places. If I feel something calling me, I end up wandering off. It's crazy. I went over, just placed my hands on the earth, and just said, to the earth, if the energy's in here, please release it. Please send it back to a place of unconditional love and light, and allow this spirit to be able to go where it needs to go. And since then, everything just started on, I can just look at people, and then I'd see an aura. So that an aura is like a shimmer of light that kind of comes away. So like on a hot sunny day, you might see heat rising from a car. But when you do that to a person, you look at them, they have like a glow around them. It's just amazing. And it's just, I've been in work once, and I've had a call in, like I've had this vision, and I've walked out my work. That's how how much strong, how strong it is. I've had to walk out of work and go to this place just because I felt like I needed to go there. I shouldn't say that on here, just in case my old bosses see, but so I had this image of, I did a reading for someone, and her daughter came through, and she was showing me balloons, and like she was saying, "Oh yeah, we had balloons released for the school, this, that, and the other." And I was like, "No, no, no, nothing like that." She's just showing me this one balloon, and it felt like the message wasn't for her. I said, "It's strange, sounds weird, but I feel like she's telling me to look out for one balloon." And she was trying to say the message was for her, and I'm like trying to explain to her, no, sometimes spirit could come through, and sometimes they may not mean a message for yourself. Sometimes the message might be for someone else. So say like, if I done one for you, I could feel your emotions because we connect through the crown chakra, so our energies connect like a telephone. And when we start to connect, the people that kind of sit behind you will then also connect. So if there's any family members that have been thinking about you and you've not really been in contact, their energy is kind of attached through a cord. And then we can say, well, you need to go speak to this person. I know this has been going on, but there needs to be a boundary cord. This cord needs to be released because it's blocking yourself from moving in a specific direction. It's just loads, but she showed me this balloon, and then I seen this fence where this forest was, and it was like a little adapter. So first it showed me the balloon, and then when I was in work, she showed me the fence and this forest, and I knew where that was. So I was like, right, just got me stuff, got in the car, drove to this forest, and it was there. There was just this one balloon dangling off the fence. And there was a gentleman. There was a gentleman who committed suicide. I think it was the day before. And there was cards and stuff left for him. But there was a gentleman that committed suicide. So I did a blessing again on the earth, asking him to come forward to release him. And then I seen in the card his wife's name. So then I thought to myself, do I contact the wife? I typed up this big essay for her, explaining everything, like the messages he gave me and stuff like that. But I thought, I can't, because it's just so soon and so sudden. It just didn't feel like it was the right timing to send it. But it's just that energy had to be there. It's just, it is weird to how to explain it to people. But again, people can learn by using like cards, or they can use, like crystals from the earth. You can use ribbons. There's a big, massive way. It's just learning to listen to your own intuition and the guidance that comes through. Some people might say it's like your own thoughts, but don't judge. I always say, don't judge whatever comes into your head. Whatever you get first, always listen to that. Don't listen to the monkey chatter that comes next. Just always listening to that inner compass. Your solar plexus is your personal power. So that kind of sits here. So if you're feeling, when you feel a bit anxious or you feel a bit, a bit what's going on, that's because your personal power is getting affected. And that's classed as like your inner compass, your direction. Right. So your elements, all the elements of the earth come into this lower dantian, this lower energy portal. So that's probably one of the best places to heal first. It's just your own personal power. And then, but again, I could be here forever talking about all this stuff.
I love it. I was thinking about a few points when you were talking, because I was in the ministry for 15 years. And the denomination that I was in was very traditional. And, I grew up on a game farm in South Africa as, open, young, free, young child. And I've always had this connection. I've always had this sense, when things are going to happen. I always had this gut feeling that was, spot on. And when I was in the ministry and, working in the religious space, I always thought to myself, but we're not allowed to mention universe. 10 years ago, if I preached a sermon, and I mentioned the universe, that would have been a no-go. I would have been in trouble. I wasn't allowed to mention energy, all these. And then as my journey continued and I really started to, work on that alignment again, try to discover myself again, try to feel what I'm experiencing and make sense of it, then I realized that it's all the same thing. It's just discussed in a different manner. So aura, for instance, in the church they would mention is your presence that you carry. I always used to teach people you carry the Spirit, the presence of the Holy Spirit with you. You know, that's the teachings that we did in the church. Aura is your presence, it's your vibe, it's your energy. Where are you at? What are you experiencing? It's just a different way of explaining the same thing. We can even take science. We can take science and we can take presence, and we can see that science teaches us that your heart actually emanates a 3 feet around you a magnetic field. So now we can't say, you know, science, we can't discuss science because it's wrong. At the end of the day, we just have different ways, or they have different ways of explaining what you're explaining. It's just different terminology, but it's not, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And I wish people would understand that.
Wait a- Give
Yeah.
me 1 minute. Someone's knocking on my door.
Oh,
Sorry about this.
okay.
Sorry, my stepson's gone. Sorry, he's gone.
Oh,
There it is.
well, he's welcome to join us.
Sorry. But that's what it is. It is so talking it, and like, so shamanic people, they would talk about the spirit animals. So they talk about like the jaguar, talk like, so the jaguar represents about you going into the deepness of yourself, you know, going into all the pain and bringing it all out. And then, you know, you've got the serpent, and again, in the Bible, you wouldn't like the serpent because that's representing, you know, Lucifer or whatever. But you say the serpent represents kind of shedding, like letting go. So it's about how the snake takes off its skin and it crawls across Mother Earth, and how Mother Earth supports you. And it's about bringing that wisdom.
Beautiful.
It's just, there's loads of, there's like the hummingbird and all stuff like that. They just talk about the different animals that represent different things. But again, it's, if you're looking at any type of spiritual culture, religion, Hindu, whatever, it's their own little vibe, but it all represents the same. I could say that it's God's spirit, God's energy that comes to me. The messages are coming from his source of light. Again, we work with archangels. So we do meditation practices. We don't dispute that side of it, like I don't anyway. We don't dispute that there is no God. We don't dispute that the universe, if they say the universe, I say, well, God is the universe. That end of the plane, when we astral project, we could say, we go through like when I do a meditation for people, I get them to sit, focus on their hands, feel the buzzing in their fingers, focus on their knees, focus on the chair that they're sitting or lying down. Start to bring in them elements where they can actually feel, and you know, that physical energy. So when they're sitting there breathing, then I get them to close their eyes and now visualize it. Now visualize looking at your hand again and feel the intensity. You know, and my hands are buzzing now just saying that. That's what it is. It's visualizing it, just taking that time to understand. You see all these people doing breath work, and they're all like, going really, really fast because they're trying to release DMT in the brain to get this highest sense of activity. But again, if you go to Eastern, it's about the yin and the yang, and it's about calming the energy. So if I said to you, focus on your hand, a little bit like Tai Chi, you know, focus on your energy, focus on the hand, and breathe. Like I would go really, really slow, and breathe. So your breath is just silent. So you're breathing, but you're just, it's so calm and so still, and focusing on that energy and keeping it moving. Don't let it stiff up. Finding that energy, feeling the air below between the fingers as it's moved, because you're feeling that energy as you're kind of pushing away. And then as you're doing that, you're bringing it into the chakras, into yourself. So you can think about, I'm collecting all the positive energy into the earth, what's around me. So you're taking that time out to slowly breathe. And as you breathe in, you're assuming that energy inside yourself. You might stroke yourself down and then place your hands on the earth to let go of the energy. There's loads of different exercises you can do. Like,
it's amazing. And, you know, I would encourage people to really, you know, study this. And because at the end of the day, we're all energy. We are energy. That's what we are. We carry that energy. And why would we not want to be knowledgeable about it? We want that energy
Yeah.
to flow through us, and we want it, to emanate. I always say when I go to events, I raise the energy of that room. I mean, that's what I do. I go there, I raise the energy of the room, I hold that space, and I get everybody to, enjoy the day and feel empowered, because that's what I do. I do empowerment coaching. And we have to look at the views of others as well, and not just have tunnel vision, because I can say that to the audience because I was there for 15 years. I was in that tunnel vision. Now, this is the only thing, this is the only way, and the moment I let go of that, and that actually came through the passing of my mom, something just dramatically changed in me, something energetically just went to another level. And I experienced what I had experienced when I was a child, living, in the mountains on a game farm, having that connection. And all of a sudden, everything in my life just started to make sense. So I want to encourage the audience, reach out to Neil. He does a lot of, what are the services? How can we list those services for anyone that wants to reach out?
Yeah, there's loads. So obviously, if my link's on here, feel free to add me. If anybody wanting to learn any of this spiritual stuff or want to join the USAF, I have loads of different courses, PDF versions. So I've got a sound breath and meditation course, and this helps people get back on their path.
Beautiful.
So that, I would say, was one of the things that really helped me get back on my path. Is first we focus on the breath, listen to the breath, listen to all the different ways we can do that. Then we're going to bring in the sound therapy and learn about all the different types of sound, the frequencies that can help the body.
Yeah.
And then once we learn how to then add the breath work with the frequency work, then we'll move a little bit into the meditation stuff and finding what meditation is right for you. Some people, they love silent meditation. Again, I explain to people, life is meditation. And they look at me like, what do you mean? I said, if you wash your dishes today and you use your breath work while having some music on that makes you feel happy and raises your frequency and raises your vibration and just makes you feel like, yeah. So as you're washing your dishes, you breathe, you feel calm, you're playing in that water of abundance, so you're washing away with anything negative, you're washing your dishes, so you're cleaning them away. And that's a style of meditation because you've calmed that mind. It's like an artist sits there and they can sit for hours just like in a daydream, painting away. And that's a form of meditation. You can do it when hoovering. As you hoover up, hum the same tone as what the hoover is. So you breathe in and it sounds silly, looks silly, but afterwards, that little bit of you want to bring out that childness energy inside yourself, because that's what makes your life a little bit happier. Because you look at children are happy because they don't care. They don't care. They just jumped in a puddle, or they've done something silly. Because as you get older, you get judged. Yeah, they're happy. It's just as we get older, we get judged. Stop clowning around. Don't do this. Don't do that. Where with my kids, I teach them to be polite. Yeah, I teach them to be polite. I teach them to understand, to be respectful. But at the same time, if you see a dirty puddle, I'm like, right, I'm going to jump in it with you. It's about getting on a piece of rope, making a rope swing, doing stuff that is what makes you feel happy. Like one of my friends, so she's found a nice lake where she kind of goes to chill and relax by this lake, but no one's around. So I said to her, well, why don't you have a little dance? And at first she was like, oh, I can't do that. So just go crazy, just scream and shout and spin and grab under the trees, give them a little shake, do whatever. No one's watching you, who cares? Just have that sense of enjoyment. And it is just telling people to do things like that, and then they come back to you and they're like, oh, my life is so much better because I've incorporated this, or I've done this. Or I like to add in like like the style of martial arts I do. So when we do like inside blocks, so when I get people to do breath work, I teach them martial arts without them knowing. So I'll get them, so this one, so we might go this way and then we come up. So as this hand comes up, so we're going inside, the punch is coming in. I've blocked here. I've shifted 45 degrees off center. As that comes in, I then snatch this arm and then I'll backhand them in the face. So again, it's just boom, 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 one movement. But if you take it slowly and teach them, bring up the knee, bring in that hand, breathe, and then we're swapping over, we're reaching, and this hand is now releasing towards, So we're just doing this. And then I might bring my arm up, come round, and bring up the knee. So what you've just done is you've checked them out of the way, you've grabbed the wrist, you've backhanded them in the face, you've twisted their arm up in the air, and as their arm goes up, the head comes down into your knee.
Onto the Yeah.
I've got people saying, "Oh, I can't learn." I've got people that say, "No, I can't learn martial arts. I can't do that." So I'll take them on me. Like I do cacao ceremonies, so that's like chocolate to open up the heart center.
Lovely.
So when we go away and we do a little bit of breath work, I get them to do it really slow. Feel the energy. So we're going to move to the shoulder, rising the arm, bringing it back out, dropping that arm down and bringing it up. So there you've done an uppercut. You've chopped that arm down to bring it out of the way, and you've uppercutted underneath their arm. So you're in there, and then you could. It's just teaching them something that they don't realize, and then you say to them, "Oh, here you go," and then I say, "Do this technique while I try and touch that shoulder," and then they're gonna go boom, 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 and then look at you like. I said sometimes that's what it is.
It's a fun
on the
way
inside or get on the outside.
Yeah, that's a fun way to teach. We call that bunkai. When we learn the kata and we actually learn what the move really does. You're breaking an arm, you're breaking someone's neck. It's a throw or so it's a good way to teach them. I think that's impeccable, absolutely impeccable. And with the martial arts that you do, how you help the people, I listened to what you said a few moments ago about when you're in a quiet place, just go crazy and have fun. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I'll tell you why. When we grew up in our culture, they always used to say children are to be seen and not to be heard. And that's how we grew up. We were silent. You're there, but you do your chores, and the rest of the time you're quiet. What your parents say is that, now my children are very respectful. They're both martial artists. I give them the freedom, though, to have a lot of fun with me, because I have a lot of fun with my kids. We have laughs every single day. What I believe we should do is we should get back to that place where we don't just speak up for what we believe in, but where we utter the way we feel. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. When my mom passed away in 2020, I kind of went into silence mode for a little while because I was grieving, and I wasn't sure how to approach it. I'd always been on the other side of the pulpit when there were funerals. I was always preaching and, helping the families. This time I had to conduct a funeral, but for her, and it was a completely different ball game. And I came home and I started knitting just to keep my mind busy and to try and sort out, what I was going through with the grieving process. And then I started, because it was COVID, we were on lockdown. Then I started to watch Korean dramas. And I sat there one day and I was talking to my daughter and I said to her, they look so happy in these Korean dramas. But what I realized about their culture, which I love, is they express themselves through actions and noises. They will go like, or they will say something. And I started doing that. And Neil, the moment I started, if I didn't feel happy about something, I would go like, I would start to feel happy the moment I got that breath out. Or I would say, when I felt overwhelmed, even when I went back into normal life.
Sigh of relief.
Yes, that sigh. We shouldn't forget to do those because, like you said, everybody's gone so quiet. Be quiet, be, respectful. Yes, of course, be respectful, but be yourself and don't be afraid to express yourself, like Neil said. Make those noises, dance when you're somewhere, have fun and laugh and enjoy life because we are human beings. We are made to express ourselves. How do you teach people to do that?
There's different ways. It's finding out what resonates for that person. So everyone's different. You can't have the same method you can't have the same principle for everyone. For me, I've got to contact them. I've got to spend time with them, like on this live. For instance, for me, if you're feeling a bit low and you're feeling like you need to cheer yourself up, I know a great exercise for you would be to clap your hands, because you're doing that sigh of relief. So, but not like clap them hands and then giggle to yourself.
Yeah.
So you feel the tingles in your hands. Yeah. You're activating the energy in your hands. But then you could use that, and then you could just be like, oh, and then pray. So you're opening up the throat chakra, holding the back of your neck, and just feeling the sun on your face, as that kind of opens all up. And it's just when I feel a bit overwhelmed, look at all the sports people, when they're feeling overwhelmed, again, a breath technique, shaking your hands, releasing that energy, and qigong, it will get you to bounce up and down on your tiptoes, shake your hands, because you imagine that you're releasing the energy from your hands. So when you see them getting warmed up or whatever, or they're feeling a bit nervous, it's you see them doing that, and then they're getting ready. It's just pumping that energy round, getting the blood pumping, the energy going, and
good.
It's just figuring out what is right for them.
I love that.
So breathing techniques. So listening to drumming music. So the sound of like a shamanic drum, that balances the left and the right hemisphere of the brain. So when you're feeling out of balance and you can't think straight and you're overwhelmed with too many activities. So like I've got in my room here at the back, somewhere over there, in the corner there. I've got like my shamanic drum, and the kids who are like autistic and stuff like that, they absolutely love them, because they can't regulate their energy and they can't focus properly. So we'll bring the drums into martial arts and stuff, and I've got some big heavy duty ones in the shed that they can just smash dead hard. And they love it, because it's a way of just releasing some of that stuff. And I say, right, well, now let's go do this. You've done this and release some of this tensed up energy. I said, now you're going to show me, a simple left, right, hook, and then kick, or kick and then step in, or something. And then they'll go off, they'll bang the drum, they'll come back, and I say, right, let's go again. And then they kind of like, you see them progressing, and it's just amazing. But it's just finding what's right for that person. That's all it is.
Neil, you've taught us so much. Absolutely fabulous session with you. And I want to ask you 2 more questions. I want to ask you, you've had this journey, and martial arts is really, you've had an impeccable journey, because what I was thinking when you were talking earlier today, even as I read your bio, when I'm reading, I'm thinking things to myself as well. And I thought to myself, that could have gone 2 ways. You could have made the wrong choice later when you came at that crossroad. You could have stuck with that crowd, and your life could have looked much different than it does today. But you didn't make that choice. You made the right choice. You are a wonderful father, a wonderful partner to your beautiful wife, your children. You're an amazing dad. I've seen that firsthand. You are an impeccable martial artist and friend and brother. You're a Hall of Famer. You're an author. What's the most important lesson that you've learned in your journey, with the martial arts? Because I believe martial arts contributed greatly to your success today as a human being, as a balanced, spiritual light worker. What's the biggest lesson you've learned?
It's just to be, it's crazy, but just to be there. It's so simple, just to be there for other people. Show them the support, show them that you're there for them, no matter what. I've got my TikTok thing where I do readings and stuff like that for people on there, and then they've added me, on WhatsApp on my private number, and I'll speak to them, and they're saying, "Oh, like I'm struggling a little bit today." So, and I'm like, why? What's the matter? And I've had this person say, I've only got a few quid. The kids at the school, and I'm thinking, what do I need to make for tea today? Just have a normal conversation. I don't know what to have for tea today. What are you having? And she was like, oh, I've only got a few quid. And I was like, okay, well, what's your PayPal? And she was like, why? I don't want to read it. So I got her PayPal. You send us some money. And she was like, why have you done this? I'm like, because spirit, doing all this stuff is not about, I want a card reading, I want this, I want this. It's about paying it forwards. For years, I've taught people to be Reiki masters. I've taught people how to be shamanic healers. I've taught people all sorts of stuff for free. It's always been for free, and I've only starting to try and understand the value of money. But that's because I was homeless and I didn't see money as a value, because I've made it without money. You know, the universe has looked after me. It's always opened up the right doorways at the right time. If it wasn't for that opportunity to move away, I probably would have been dead by now, or at least in prison. Because I was on a 2-year recommend. So if I'd done anything wrong, ride a push bike on the street, I would have been in prison. And then through that, it would have just spiraled big time. So I'm grateful to have that opportunity for, to move away, because that was the game changer.
You made that choice.
It is wonderful.
You got in that vehicle, you got on that bus, however you went there, you made that choice, because you could have chosen differently. And here you are today helping people. Neil, as you're saying, just help other people wherever you can, even if it's just putting them in contact with the right people, even if it's just linking them up with some other resource, even if it's just putting them in a program or giving that wisdom, that knowledge, that experience, that advice. Let's help each other out there. Here at Meticulous, we love to talk about gratitude, leadership, and community upliftment. And I said it at the beginning, and I'm going to say it again. I see that in your life. So I just want to say, Oss to you. You're an amazing example to all of us.
Thank you very much.
And we just want to know how we can support you. How can we assist you on your journey? We'll wait for the USAF details. People can reach out to you. I'm going to make your contacts available on Facebook, so that they can DM you if they need energy work, meditation, if they want to learn how to be a Reiki master, the portfolio that you've just listed. And thank you for being here today. Is there any shout outs you want to do to your friends or someone? I know people are waiting for this interview to support you.
Yeah. So again, Wayne Hunt, big shout out to him, because he got me in a lot of contacts for the Warriors Path. Also, the Warrior Path 2 is in the process. I've gave people to roughly the mid of September to get their stories in. So there have been no rush. They've had a couple of months to really focus on it all. Again, shout out to Phil Morsley for arranging the next Hall of Fame for me. That is it's good. It goes up on the wall, you know what I mean? It's that sense of pride, because I'm dyslexic. My reading, my maths is awful. So to do this, I was like blown away. I'm still not registered. It's just one of them. And again, to Edward, I think you know Edward, don't you?
Edward Bishop,
he's
my
a fantastic
brother.
guy. He's a fantastic guy. Always messages me in the morning. Like I'm always up at like 5 a.m. In the morning. So he's always like laughing. You up again, mate? I'm like, yes, I'm awake. And he's always like, how are you? And he's just a general nice guy checking in on everyone. And it's just nice to have that conversation with them all. And again, to Master Alan Whiteside, because without his wisdom and his, and putting him into the right, going into the right contacts through him, connecting with the right people. And if I come off track and I'm doing things a little bit wrong or not the right etiquette, he will say, be careful on this, watch this. I've been down this path, so listen to what I'm saying. And I always listen, and I'll be like, right, I'll take that into, I'll understand that. Okay, we'll sort this. And again, we work in a good balance, because he has all that wisdom now to teach and to progress and to push forwards. And I've got that style of making the right contacts now and going through the right channels and promoting in the right way. So he can take that step back of trying to promote all the time, because it can be stressful. And during COVID, he was in a bad way. He was in hospital, collapsed lungs, all sorts. He still struggles now. So it's good to be able to help him and, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But yes, to all of them, and obviously to my partner.
And your beautiful partner, what's her name?
Yeah, her name's Natalie. So again, without her, I wouldn't have the opportunity to train, the opportunity because she's a nurse. So it gives me time. I'm a stay-at-home dad, you know what I mean? And I do my martial arts. Again, that's volunteering. We do that. Both of us, all the instructors do it volunteer. We volunteer to teach. All the money we make goes into the business to keep it open and to get the kids the uniforms, to get them trophies, this, that, and the other. I think I've got literally like a bag of trophies down there that we're sorting for the next event. But everything, that's how it's been. It's just always pushing forwards. When COVID came, we were the first people in the world, I would say, to do food parcels. I know it's a big shout for being in the world, but was it 23 or 32,000 parcels?
Oh my gosh.
In the just really smashed it. We couldn't open up for martial arts, so we contacted the big companies. We got crates of food, and we started taking them door to doors to people. And it just makes me giggle, because you see all these other people that are on like TV saying, "Oh wow, look at what they're doing to help their community," and then I look at Alan thinking, that should be you, mate. And he's just like, nah, it's fine. It is what it is. We don't need that. And I'm like, no, that's advertisement. That's advertisement for your school. It's advertisement, to promote yourself. And he's just like, he's old school. He just likes to you know what I mean? Well,
thank you so much, Neil. We appreciate everything you guys are doing out there, and we are going to support you. Definitely we'll await those details. And you're an impeccable brother and friend, and we appreciate, everything that you do, everything that you are, and keep going. Just keep going. You have our support, and give Natalie a hug from us, and have a wonderful day. We'll be in touch soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care now.
Bye.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're the #1 fastest growing community and tribe of some of the highest level entrepreneurs all around the country and around the world. We're in 36 states across the U.S., in 11 international countries, and over 240 plus members, growing every single day. And I'm honored, excited, and I'm glad to say that I'm proud to be the official sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast with Juanita Kapp. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited for this journey.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Ellis. I'm from the Thought-Provoking Change community. I am honored and humbled to be a sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast, brought to you by the one and only Juanita Kapp. It is such a joy and privilege to be on this journey with you, and I look forward to seeing where it takes not only Meticulous Moments, but also thought-provoking change. Looking forward to this partnership. You're a great person with a great podcast.
Hey everybody, my name is Patrick Rude. I'm the owner of Rude Financial Services, a proud sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast, hosted and directed by the beautiful, strong, and intelligent Juanita Kapp. I cannot tell you enough about what this woman has done with this podcast and the effect that she has had on me and all of the other sponsors and people that listen. Don't miss it.